How are the Amish funeral services and the viewings? So when someone passes away, then 3 days after that, the funeral has to be the third day after. So for 2 days afterward, then they would have the viewing, and it is at the person's house. Wherever that person lived, that is usually where the funeral services are held. So throughout the 2 days of the viewing, there is lots of people that come throughout the entire day to visit. There's lots of people at an Amish funeral. There is family and friends and the church or neighbors, surrounding churches sometimes, distant relatives or distant friends. The Amish do not embalm the dead, and the person who has passed away wears their church clothing. So an Amish woman, it would be the black dress and a white cape and apron. And then if they were a member of the church, it would be a white head covering. If not, it would be a black head covering. And if it was a man, they would have to wear their black suit jacket and pants, and their black shoes, and their black hat, or a straw hat if they were not a member of the church, and then their white shirt. They would be buried in those church clothes. And then the people at the funeral, the women have to wear this, just a black dress that's long sleeved, and a black apron and a black cape. So every Amish woman has to have a black dress on hand for whenever that happens. And they can also wear a navy dress with the apron and cape if they want to. So they also usually have a navy dress on hand, but they have to wear black for the funeral day. And the men wear their church attire with black suit and pants, but they can wear a light blue colored or a very light something colored long sleeved shirt instead of the white one if they want to. But on the funeral day, they have to wear their white shirt. Funeral services are very similar to an Amish church service, but I think it doesn't last as long, and there's specific stuff that they say that they wouldn't say in church. And it's no laughing, and it's very, very sober, no one smiling. Usually there is surrounding churches in the area of the person who has passed away. Those women in the churches would prepare food, bowls of salads, bowls of fruits, and other stuff, and that would be the food that would be served to the family of the person who has passed away on the 2 days of the viewing, and then also on the day of the funeral. I remember when my grandmother passed away in 2011, I was only 10 years old, but there's a lot of stuff I remember specifically, and I remember we went there very, very, very early in the morning, almost before the sun was up, and we had to drive like 10 miles with the horse and buggy, and then there was people coming and going throughout the entire day, and the whole family, most of the family was there the entire day on all 3 days, and that's usually how it is. And then there's something else that they do, and I can't really tell you why, but there's certain men, usually in the church of the person who's passed away, that are chosen, and they would stay every evening overnight, just sitting up throughout the night. So there's one person that would stay for half the night, and then another person would come and take his place, and that person would go home to sleep, and then they would stay up throughout the whole night just there, right there with the person who has passed away. On the day of the funeral, there is a few men that are chosen to be the barriers, or however you want to call them. So they would be the people that would actually put the casket in the hole and cover it up while everyone else is watching in the funeral. Usually after the funeral services, everyone goes in their buggies or cars, and they all go to the cemetery, and they have a certain buggy that they use to put the casket into it. It's like a smaller buggy with a thing on the bottom coming out so you can slide it in there. And they also do have in memory of cards to give away, and it says how many siblings the person had, and it has a certain verse on it, and then it says whose church, I think, and then who the barriers or pallbearers were. On the day of the funeral, everyone can go home after the services, or if they want to, they can go to watch the process at the cemetery, and then they can go home or stay for a little while if they're family. There is a certain Amish man that would be the funeral director, I guess, and I'm not exactly sure what he does, except for he takes care of the process there at the funeral to tell people where to go and when to go and all of that stuff. So when you go to an Amish viewing, then typically the person who has passed away is in a small bedroom. They're in the middle of the room, and then the family is standing all around or sitting. And to go in, you would have to pass all of the family and go out the other end. And a lot of times we would shake everyone's hands. There is some hugging as well, and that's the only time I've really seen much hugging in the Amish community. And for the little children in funerals, they would also wear their church clothing and black dresses. I just remember growing up that I was very scared to go to a funeral, and I just absolutely hated it. And when I had to go, then I would be crying, and I couldn't stand it.